today. It has been more than 5 months since COVID-19 pandemic hit our islands. We closed churches in the diocese in mid-March of this year and reopened on May 31st, the solemnity of Pentecost. We celebrated Holy Week and the Sacred Triduum this year without the congregation. We adjusted to having online liturgical celebrations. Even though we have been back to our worshiping communities in our respective parishes, we still have continuing challenges in our day-to-day living. We remain strong in our faith. In my pastoral visit to the island of Tinian, I had a conversation with two parishioners, Mrs. Serafina Nabors and Mayor Edwin Aldan. I asked them questions about the role of faith during this pandemic. Father Anthony Aguason, pastor of San Jose Tinian, also shared his thoughts and reflections during this unusual time in our diocese. Please tune in and let us hear from them. Si Diyos maasi for listening, and God bless you all. Mayor Edwin Aldan, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to speak with you, having this conversation, and basically about things happening and the role of faith, since you are a faithful Catholic in this community of Tinian. And you know, with you two, a long time ago, and Tinian was really hit hard, and you and your team, you did so well, but still some people are recovering from that. And now with COVID-19 pandemic, it's one challenge after the other. First of all, how are you, and as a person, as a family man, and how are you as a mayor in dealing these challenges?
Thank you, Bishop, for allowing me and to participate in this interview. During our U2, everybody knows that Tinian was 1-0, and the church was really hit hard. The one thing that this community, the community of Tinian, is it's a very small community, and it united them. The people came together, and we did a lot of things that most big cities or municipalities will have hard time. And we do. I cannot say that we didn't have challenges. We did have a lot of challenges, but we pulled through, because one of the first problem that we encountered was people not having a place to shelter, people not having access to really usual food and water. Those things were resolved, or kind of like were been taken care of when the federal government stepped in with the military and all the private partners. Of course, the church that time continued to pray upon us, and Pali Ray was there, and with your guidance and your blessings, you both put, despite the situation where we're in, we continue to pray Mass, and praying Mass and going to church on Sunday really put the people together. We weren't using the church at that time because it was really damaged, and we used at that time, we were at the gymnasium, and our only gym, and it heals the soul. I cannot say anything other than that, because I go to do Mass every Sunday during that period, and it brings unity to the people. It brings hope that we can really put through. For as a mayor, we had a lot of challenges. I would no doubt, it was my first term as a mayor, coming from a very from a legislative side, and then finally being administering a municipality is two totally different things, and I kind of like had to really keep up with what are the requirements that is necessary for the municipality as a whole, as a community, and it was a challenge. People don't have water, don't have power, no place to stay. Rations were being distributed, but I see that as a blessing. Really, there was no riots, there's no chaos. The government is moving as best as they can to provide for the people, and I really I have to give thanks to the partners that we had back then.
This time around with this COVID-19, how challenging is it compared to Super Typhoon U2?
It's kind of difficult with this one because we are not the only people that are affected. This is global, and it's happening all over the world. It's not like YouTube where we can ask our sister brothers down in south of us, Guam, and our family in the States. This one hits us more harder because more so it's in the entire globe. Everybody is going through the same issue. People are dying, and our economy is in shambles. But one thing that I would be sure is to live within our means is the most important thing. Despite our financials, there are other ways that we can move on with such a small community. There are monies that we can get from the federal that are in grants, and that's what we've been doing, trying to put people back to work. Tinian is in I would say in a situation where the opportunities are there because of a lot of developments. Other matters, municipality matters is critical. We have some health issues in providing services to them, but we try to work on continuing those programs, inter-island medical referrals, and sheltering, bringing in providers to the island. As you know, we have just opened Isla Health Center, and that's another positive for the community to have the option to really look at which service do you have an option already.
Thank you for your leadership, Mayor, and you are giving your best. May God continue to bless you in the things that you do for the people. I want to talk a bit now about your faith. I've known you as very supportive of San Jose Church Tinian. You're a faithful Catholic, and we, with this COVID-19 pandemic, we stopped celebrating Mass in person. We closed churches mid-March all the way to, I believe, May 30. That Sunday, May 31st, was the first time we reopened. And when I came here in June, I was happy to see you as the Nino for the confirmation. And it was probably the first for many to come back to church and be with the community to worship. But how was it like not being able to come to church for, almost 3 months? And how was your faith or your expression of faith? How are you and your family? Could you share with us?
There's an expression that says that you can pray anywhere, you don't need to go to church, but that's totally different. Because when you come to the house of God and you pray, you're spiritually and your mind is committed to your religion, to your faith, and not having that setting is very difficult. It's It's very difficult, and a lot of us were very not in agreement of not opening the church, because we want the church to be open, even if we have social distancing and people want to be outside, and we just want the church to be open, because it, like I said, when U2 happened, church was the one that brought everybody together, and I believe in your leadership in as being the bishop of our diocese, that first and foremost knows the safety of the community, and at that time we were kind of like, whoa, we want to go to church, and we want to see Polly, and we want to hear him, his sermon, and see the other people, meet the community members. Personally, I've never missed San Jose Fiesta since I grew up. I've never missed. Even if there's a typhoon, we would have a small fiesta, but there will always be fiesta. One of the blessings that we have with Paulie Anthony, and he did it upon himself to come out to the community and bless us on Easter Sunday. And I was not prepared. I didn't know that Paulie Anthony was going to go around and bless the village. And I was at my yard cleaning, and then all of a sudden I heard a car, a loud music coming from behind. And then when I turned around, I saw Paulie Anthony blessing the community, and I had to stop everything, and I did the sign of cross, and it touched me really hard, for the church to do that, and Paulie Anthony to come out and reach out despite what we were going through with this COVID-19, and my faith still remains committed to God and my family. It never deviated us from the belief that there is such a person as God.
In terms of faith, you said you never, your faith never wavered. Was there a point, Mayor, again, from U2 to COVID-19 pandemic, have you ever doubted or questioned God? Why? Many of our parishioners, I guess from one challenge to another, would say, God, if you're a loving and caring God, why are we experiencing this? Did it ever cross your mind to?
Well, I've never posed that question upon myself, but I've always remembered that coming from personal, everything happens for a reason, and within that reason, God is always next to you, and coming. That's my personal. Now, as an elected, for every difficult times, for every hardship, there is opportunity. And it's just how you look at what are the opportunities. From U2 to COVID, we never had the opportunity to be having all of this funding that now we're revamping our municipality. We'll be building a civic center. We'll be building a new farmers market. We'll be building a new office for the maintenance shop for public works. DLNR. We'll be getting repaired our cars that was damaged. These are. We're looking at a substantial amount of money that we're getting out of that, and that we cannot. We will not be able to get that in our lifetime. For us to move this and to build a better municipality. Yes. The suffering at that moment is we go through that. But at the end of the day, we still have each other. We still have a belief in one another and a belief in our faith. And that's the calling. That's a calling for us to and a lot of people in our municipality change their view on how they look at religion, because a lot of people got help despite the crisis. Got help from our government, from our partners, and they believe that help wouldn't be afforded to them if they don't pray. No, it's just a simple pray and believe in your faith is what would bring you back to.
Growing up, Mayor, what have you learned from the elders, especially in terms of faith, and perhaps you can say made you who you are now, and the values that your parents, your grandparents really have taught you, just where you are now. What is it that you learned from them?
First of all is my great grandma. I grew up. I was raised by my great grandma. She instilled in me to believe in going to church, praying, helping at the church. So she doesn't really go to church. Something I always remember. She would participate, but always on the back side. She would bring cook, because she's a baker by trade. She would cook pastries and bring it over and drop me with the pastries and come to church, attend the mass and everything. But she would just stay home. But at the house, one thing I would never miss was her. When we wake up, we pray. Once we wake up, we go to shows with different Santa Maria, which is there, and San Jose, and we pray in the morning, and then off I go to school or go and do my chores. But she was the one who made sure that I go to church and I believe in my faith. Later on in my life, it's my wife. I would say in 2009, I came back religiously and committed to helping the church. Before that, I was a police officer, then a politician. So I have always made that excuse of, I have to work, I don't have time, I have to go to sleep because my work. I was so committed to my career. And church was my, what they say, your seasonal conviction and commitment. But after my first term of retiring from politics, my wife instilled my second belief in faith to come back and commit myself to church. And I was...
I believe you just celebrated your 25th anniversary
Yes.
with your wife. Wow, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
And true, it really is important to recognize the support
Yes.
of your wife, and as to say, in marriage, there's always that the two shall become one.
Yeah.
The support of the other. Finally, Mayor, any message to the community? Not only to the Catholic faithful. When we share this out there, you can speak in the vernacular or any words, final thoughts you want to say.
it's been hard for all of us, especially for Tinian, the community of Tinian. These last 2 years has been a challenge, but not only that, I would say that continue to believe in your faith, continue to believe that there is really a God, and pray. For the pandemic, I continue to urge that we continue to do what is required of us, with the frontliners being really active and doing their job. We have not seen a spread within the community, and I ask that we continue to do safe distance and know the social distancing and then the social gathering and what is required of us. And I hope that we continue to do that as we move along, and hopefully we'll come up with something that would help us overcome this challenge. This is a pandemic. This is not only happening in Tinian or Saipan. This is global, and we just have to be patient and believe in our faith that there will be a solution to the problems that we're going through.
Thank you, Mayor, and I really appreciate and grateful for all the support given to San Jose Parish-Tinian. The project is coming along well, and with Paliray and with Pali Anthony. Thank you for always helping us. God bless you.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nabors, for giving us your time. I've known you since I was a seminarian, still discerning to be a priest. I was assigned here one summer when the late Father Buds Dumas was still the pastor. And I've always really witnessed your support, your faith. And recently, super typhoon YouTube, Tinian was hit hard. The church was damaged. And now after that, with COVID-19 pandemic, how are you dealing with these things in life and as a Christian, as a Catholic? What is it telling you?
To me, I think God is telling us that it's time to reflect upon our faith. And I think God is telling us, be prepared, because all the things that we're seeing today, these days, typhoon is getting stronger. The sun is really giving us really hot rays. It's getting bad. Diseases are getting worse. People are just getting sick left to right. And I think God is telling us, if you don't have me in your life, you got to be prepared, because something great is going to happen, bigger than any one of you. And, this pandemic really bring us YouTube, and then follows by the pandemic. It's really awakening. I don't know for the rest, but for me, it's awakening for me. And I keep telling people, come back to church, come back to God. Because without God, life is going to be really very hard. And to me, yes, it is hard, but I find peace with God. In the church, it seems like the burden is light.
It seems like faith is really there.
Yeah.
You were not discouraged. If anything, your faith was strengthened.
Strengthened, yeah.
Put God at the center. We need Him, especially at this time. I know, Mrs. Nabors, that you are considered in the high-risk group.
Yes.
What was your reaction? Especially, I believe we spoke when we got back from our retreat that we didn't really have plans yet of closing, but you were on top of everything with the safety, and then eventually with following Monday, we closed churches, also as a response to the government guidelines, and we didn't open till the last part of May. And what are your thoughts on those closure, like literally the structure? Were you disappointed? Was it okay for you? Or probably, since we talked and you mentioned about really the importance of safety.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed because I really miss going to church, and I'm used to waking up in the morning, coming to church, opening the church, getting things ready for the mass, and then pandemic hit. But then I have to take back also, step back, and I said I am a high risk person, so although I want to come to church, I have to also take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, nobody will. And I know God is telling everybody that we have to abide also with the law of the land, because though He wants us to come to church, when the government put into place the rules and regs, when Jesus came, He said He did not come to abolish the law, right? So I think we just follow also. So in order for us to be in better position to help with faith, we have to stay healthy too, because otherwise, if all the healthy people were gone, then what happened? We cannot, help with the faith.
And when we closed churches, that's when we also started our daily, what we call online mass. And I would see your name pop out, the Facebook Live. How was your experience with that? And just, this is new for all of us, and really, that's the best we could do as a Catholic community. How was the online mass?
If you really concentrate on it, it's just like the regular mass. If you put yourself into, like you're in the church, right? But if you're not really paying attention and just because those things are popping up, right? And they're not, when you look at it, people really are not paying attention in the online mass, because they keep making, notation on the side. I think that if that should be somewhere that's not going to be showing up on the when the mass is going.
So for you, you felt like it was just the same experience as
Yes, because when if everybody's standing, when you're supposed to stand, I stand during I'm not just sitting down, I stand. And if you have to kneel, I sit down because I cannot kneel. So yeah. Yes, the songs, and but otherwise it's the same to me.
Tinian Parish was really affected too. We had our scheduled fiesta on the first weekend of May,
Yes.
May 2nd and 3rd. And you've been a CCD teacher for so long, and the scheduled confirmation was pushed to June. So all of these plans that we have, God had other plans.
Yes.
How did you take this, and with the confirmation with the students? How did they react? There was really uncertainty. We didn't know when we would be open.
They were kind of like, when are we going to have our confirmation? Why yes? But we have to explain that, this is beyond our control. And if we come back and then we open, we prepare them, and we make sure that when we prepare them, Father Anthony prepared the confirmation, and I specifically prepared instead of having the First Holy Communion teachers prepare them, I took the initiative to prepare them to make sure that they do understand what they were, supposed to be.
How many years have you been in CCD as coordinator, as teacher, in different capacities? I mean, that was in the 90s, so they came here, you were already
Yes.
involved, so even perhaps earlier.
Yes, I've been here and there.
Yes. So thank you for your continuing commitment to the church. And you've also seen, this community, Tinian Parish, many priests have come and left, and many events, and especially with what has happened recently, Mumentu, and this COVID-19 pandemic. From your experience and the way you relate also with others, what is the role of faith? You said a bit already earlier, and how the message of God, He wants us to really be close to Him. He is there. But do you think our people are easily discouraged? What is the role of faith? Do they even complain, or some even would say, is God punishing us? Or they would think somehow, if God is so good, how could He allow these things to happen?
Yes, they do have that. They do have that question sometimes, and why is God doing this to us? And after the typhoon, and we were over there we were doing a mass at the gym. There were lots of people coming back, and then after a while they got pleasant again. It's getting better, but with this pandemic, it's kind of hard because you cannot really gauge, because the distancing, the practice that you have to distance yourself. Some people are still so afraid. They don't want to come to church. They don't even want to come out of their house. Still, some people are still in their house. They don't want to. They go out, but just by themselves, and then go back home. They just go drive around just to get out of the house. But otherwise, they're scared because we cannot. We don't really know who has it.
What are some of the lessons that you learned through this difficult, during these difficult times?
To me, personally, if you don't have faith, then you're not, it's really going to be very difficult. If you don't have the faith and you don't have the trust, you don't trust the Lord, or the Lord is not part of your plans or your day-to-day, it's hard because you find things very difficult.
Any final thoughts or messages to the community and to our parishioners that you can speak in the vernacular if you wish, and kind of also share with them a message that you want to share, perhaps encourage the Catholic faith?
All I want to say is return to God and have faith and trust Him, because things happen for a reason, because God is telling us, come back to me, because without me, you're nothing. And that's how I feel. Without God, we're nothing. I personally experienced that, even with my cancer. So that's why I'm very strong in my faith now. Because I too was once far away from the church. So coming back to church, I'm encouraging other people to come back to church, because without God, it's very hard.
Thank you. You've always been an example of someone who does her best in living out her faith. Thank you for giving us a good example, and for helping the church. And don't get tired. Pray for your help so that you continue to help us. No?
All the time.
Thank you.
Half a day. We know very well that the entire Catholic community is affected in one way or another by the coronavirus pandemic raging throughout the world. For many, this is a challenge to our faith and our understanding. How can this be happening? Where is God in all of this? How should we respond as people of faith? Our Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 142 says, and I quote, "By His revelation, the invisible God from the fullness of His love addresses men as His friends and moves among them in order to invite and receive them into His own company. The adequate response to this invitation is faith. Therefore, faith is our response to God's invitation to be with Him. And being with Him means happiness." Furthermore, the Catechism continues to say that faith is a gift of God, a supernatural virtue infused by God. And before this faith can be exercised, we must have the grace of God to move and assist us. We must have the interior helps of the Holy Spirit who moves the heart and converts it to God, who opens the eyes of the mind and makes it easy for all to accept and believe the truth. Brothers and sisters, the role of this gift of faith infused by God in us as we all face this pandemic crisis is to lead us to accept the truth that life is precious and finite, that we cannot know when the end is coming, that what is beautiful and just and true deserves our focus far more than what is annoying or inconvenient in life. Again, God's call to all of us is to be with Him. It is a call to live a happy life, a life which is precious and beautiful, a life that focuses to what is essential and what matters the most. And it is this gift of faith that will lead us to this truth. In his homily for Palm Sunday last April 5 to 2020, Pope Francis said, and I quote, "Today, in the tragedy of a pandemic, in the face of the many false securities that have now crumbled, in the face of so many hopes betrayed, in the sense of abandonment that weighs upon our hearts, Jesus says to each one of us, 'Courage, open your heart to my love. You will feel the consolation of God who sustains you.'" Unquote. Another, in his prayer and blessing Orbi et Orbi last March 27, Pope Francis recalled the occasion in St. Mark's Gospel when the disciples awakened Jesus during a storm at sea and begged Him to calm the storm. And the Pope ended by entrusting all to the Lord through the intercession of Mary. Let these words be echoed as I end my message. May God's blessing come down upon you as a consoling embrace. Lord, may you bless the world, give health to our bodies and comfort our hearts. You ask us not to be afraid, yet our faith is weak and we are fearful. But you, Lord, will not leave us at the mercy of the storm. Tell us again, do not be afraid. And we, together with Peter, cast all our anxieties onto you, for you care about us. Amen.